Right, seated. Find comfortable seat. And either close your eyes or set your gaze down somewhere in front of you on the floor. Relax the expression on your face. Relax and open your ears. And notice the space around you. The sounds. Maybe the smells. I did my meditation outside yesterday by the beach. And just the smell of the ocean. So nice. The quality of the air on your skin. Feel into where you land on the ground. And you might take a moment just to adjust your seat, drawing your sit bones out and back. Maybe shifting your pelvic floor in the other direction. So as you slide your right sit bone off to the right, slide your pelvic floor a little to the left. And feel where you land. And so claim your place in all this space, feeling the boundaries of your skin, the weight of your bones. Start to deepen your breath. Slowing down the inhales to match the exhales, maybe slowing down the exhales more if you need to settle yourself this morning. And your Ujjayi breath is a tool to help you focus on what's happening right now even more. It's going to give you that sound. It's going to give you the texture. So maybe closing off the back of your throat a bit and working with that breath. And as you continue to breathe deeper, you invite yourself to really be in your body in this moment. So we're always in our bodies, right? But can you really infuse all of your muscles, your tissue, your skin, your bones with your intention? So that you maybe inhabit some of your body in a way that you probably won't do for the rest of the day. Really allowing yourself to feel down into your tailbone, up into the crown of the head, down into your fingers, your fingernails. Slide a little length along the front of your spine. And as you infuse your attention throughout your body, you might notice that there are parts of you where, like the you that's inside, doesn't really feel like it's living in those parts. So we're noticing, we're observing without judgment. And maybe just in that, oh, I don't really feel like I can feel down into my outer right hip or back of my heart. We just start to wake up some intelligence in our body that wasn't there before. Just in paying attention. And so now imagine you could root down from your inner sit bones. Grow roots right down and diagonally back. And as you imagine those strong roots down through the floor into the earth, does it change your breath? From this really grounded place, if you'd like to set an intention for practice, you can do that now. Why are you here? You could keep your eyes closed or you can open them from here. And we're just going to take a twist off to the left. So you can bring your right hand outside your left knee, left fingertips content back behind you. Just go into the first place where it feels like you'd have to really push to go any further. And then feel down into that right sit bone and reconnect with the imaginary root down into the floor. And as you root down through that right sit bone, can you peel your left ribs up and back away from that place? Can you reach your right rib cage, your right side ribs up into the right armpit, forward in the direction of your left knee? And you can gaze over your left shoulder or your right. You play around, see what you get out of both. Are there parts of your rib cage where your breath could move in more? Can you slide a little taller up the front line of your spine and the back? And then follow your next breath to the very bottom. And we'll inhale to unwind. Exhale, just a real gentle forward fold. You might even round your back like a cat pose. The roots of your sit bones keeping you nice and anchored even as you walk forward with your arms. And then with an inhale, roll yourself back up to a seat, or just change the cross of the legs. Sit tall. And then on an exhale, we'll twist to the right. Same thing, you come to a place where it's like, okay, it would be effort, a lot of effort to go any further. Feel down into your left sit bone, your left root. And as you reach down through that spot, can you peel your right ribs up and back away from it? So you're just getting longer across that diagonal. And then your left ribs are rolling forward towards your right knee. Spine nice and long. Can you breathe into the side ribs? Can you breathe into the back of the heart? Maybe into the back of the waist, if you had a set of gills back there. Spread your collarbones a little wider. And then inhale, unwind, and we'll fold forward. In your forward folds, can you think about finding more length across the front line of the spine? Like you could crawl up out of the front of your sacrum, the front of your lumbar spine, your rib cage spine, all the way up through the neck into the crown. And then with an inhale, we'll roll back up to a seat. It's going to set up for fire log pose or double pigeon. So it might be more comfortable to set up on a bit of a blanket for this one. Your sit bones right on top. You can have your right leg on the bottom, take your left ankle over your right knee. If it's possible, your bottom ankle will be stacked underneath your top knee. If you have pretty tight hips, like I do, it might be more comfortable to have this bottom foot just in a little bit closer. And you can also put some support under this top knee. Blanket might be nicer. It just gives your body like, oh, that's something I can rest down into, and so maybe I don't have to work so hard. And so this top ankle is far enough over that you have freedom of movement in the ankle. The foot can move around a little bit rather than being like sickled and stuck. It's just going to give your knee more options if it needs to let off some steam if the hips are tight. And you could be right here. And again, if this is too much, even with the bottom foot close to the pelvis, you can just be in a cross-legged Sukhasana and have your left shin in front. Find your roots. The same two that we've been working with, down and diagonally back. And then fall back into the rhythm of your breathing. And it might be helpful here, and in any pose that feels challenging, to remember your intention, because it probably wasn't like, maybe it was, but it probably wasn't. My intention is to really open up my hips today. And so maybe you're here to practice patience. Maybe you're here to be more present. Lately, I think about yoga as just reclaiming my space in my body. There's so many ways that we get kicked out. When you're going through grief, it can be just hard to tolerate being with yourself and all those feelings. But just the pace of our society in general can make it really hard to stay connected. Maybe you start to move into a little bit of a forward fold. Feeling that length again across the front line of the spine, staying anchored through the hips. You don't have to go very far. So find something that feels like, okay, this gives me a little bit of I have to really focus to keep myself present. And it's possible to do it. Like, I can use my breath. I can start to manage my reaction to the sensation. If you're in a place where you can't even manage, you can't even imagine managing, then you back out. I'm not going to hang out with pain or something that we really have to brace against. Can you soften a bit through the belly, through the throat, through the soft palate? And then inhale, roll back up to a seat, and we're just going to side bend. So you have your left leg on top. We're going to side bend over to the left. And that left foot or the left shin in front will kind of help to anchor the hips down. So you feel that right sit bone. Imagine the root reaching down. And then inhale, come back up. Unwind the legs. Just take them forward. Shake them up. All right. Do the other side. So right leg on top. Movement on that ankle. Maybe some support for the top knee. If this is just easy and you're like, this is comfy, and I don't think that's the case right here, but if it is, you just enjoy it. It doesn't need to be anything more. So at first, maybe you just sit tall, feel the roots rooting down, lengthen your spine. Remember that you can breathe. And a slow breath on purpose tells your nervous system, like, okay, everything's okay. We're good. And then you can start to maybe crawl forward any amount. Inhale, come back up to a seat. And we'll side bend over to the right. And then that left sit bone, keep you grounded. So rather than picking up the pelvis as you side bend, it stays rooted. For today, it doesn't always have to. There'll be poses where you want to play around with letting it lift up, but for today, getting nice and grounded. And then we'll inhale and come back up. You can move your props off to the side. Wiggle out your legs and grab a set of tennis balls, or I have the tune-up balls. And you're going to scoot down to the bottom of your mat. Any of your props, balls, blankets, blocks, can be so helpful in kind of reclaiming the parts of your body that you're not living in so much. Just kind of a reminder, like, hey, there's sensation here. And the back side of the body can definitely be an area that we kind of lose touch with because we're so forward focused in this society. Like, what's next? Moving forward. Go ahead and place the balls right at the base of your skull. So where you have that little bony ridge, right at your occipital ridge. I'll just let it rest there for a moment, knees bent. Relax the belly. Let the expression soften on your face. Just letting gravity do its work. And then you can hold on to them so that they stay put and just start to draw little circles with your nose. Changing direction. Nod your head yes. No. And as you shake your head no, you can hold the balls in place and really just kind of drag your head back and forth over the balls, giving your head a nice little massage here. Okay, and then we're going to roll it back so that they're right in the upper back. You can hold your head. Lift your hips. If that feels like too much, you just bring them back down. Remember, we want to be in a place where we can still breathe. Maybe release your head, reach your hands down your mat, crawling your fingertips towards your feet. And then we'll inhale, take the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, arms alongside the ears, any amount. I think that feels safe here. You might play around with reaching one arm a little longer than the other. And then go ahead and hug your chest. Give yourself a hug. Go ahead and rock it from side to side. Your hips are still lifted. Go ahead and bring them down. And we'll shift from side to side. So just like when we were shaking the head no, letting the balls just drag back and forth. And hold the head again. Keep your weight on the balls so that they can drag your back down. And we're going to slide back about an inch or two. You rock your feet in. Maybe you pause for a moment, giving a little bit more weight, lifting the hips. Maybe the hips stay lifted, maybe they come down. Inhale, draw your fingertips towards your feet. And then we'll, next breath in, take the arms up. Exhale, arms overhead. Crawl the arms a bit. And then hug your chest. And you can rock from side to side. Hips can be up or down. And we'll shift left and right. And then we'll tuck the pelvis, find like cat-cow with the hips so that the balls roll up and down your spine. Holding the head, keeping the weight on the balls if you can, roll back. You might get some little adjustments in your spine. Just got a good crack. Maybe play around with a little bit more weight, lifting up the hips. Maybe you shift the hips left and right. You can take the arms up and back. And hug the chest. And again, we'll just kind of rock side to side. Shift left and right. And you can find some pelvic tilts here. Just giving a little massage to the back of your heart. Roll back another 2 inches. So we're getting towards the bottom of the rib cage. If you're not there already, you might be in the back of the waist. And so you can play around with lifting and sliding the hips from side to side. You might curl your head and chest off the ground. And shift your shoulders side to side. If the balls are more in lower back than rib cage, you can play around with hugging one knee in towards the chest. Give it a couple pulses. And then do the other. Roll down a little more. So now we should all have the balls in the lower back. You are going to slide your butt from side to side like you're going to dust something off your mat with your butt. And again, one knee, give it a couple pulses, and the other. And then roll back so that the balls are right on the sacrum. Right at the, if you had a pair of jeans on right now, be at like the top inside corners of the pockets. Maybe a little bit above that. And you can find some movement with the hips forward and back. You can shift left and right. From here, you might come right up onto your forearms and just rock your hips forward and backward. And then we're going to come off the balls. And find a constructive rest. If you're in a place where you can be up against the wall, it can be nice to, we're going to extend the left leg long, and you could have that heel right up against a wall so you have something to push off of. It can be nice and anchored feeling, that foot on the wall. It's not necessary though, so it's not possible, don't worry about it. We're going to draw that right knee in. Either way, you're standing tall on your left leg, even though we're lying back. You imagine Tadasana, mountain pose, from your left heel all the way up through the crown of your head, from your inner left foot all the way up that inseam of the leg into the spine. And you can stay here holding the right knee, or you can reach up and come into half happy baby. You could take this holding the back of the thigh as well, or you could also strap up the foot, but if you can reach it, grab it. Your left leg is still reaching long. If you do have it up against a wall, you can push off that wall and imagine you slide the crown of your head away from it. And then just feel, are there areas in your right leg, your right hip, that you could be in more, you could inhabit more. Feeling your toes, feeling maybe your inner thigh, your outer hip. And from here, we're going to start to extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. You can either hold the back of the thigh, or you can continue to hold the foot, strap it up. So all the tissue along the sides of the spine that we just worked into with the balls, those are continuous with the line along the back of the leg. So all the way from your sit bone into the sole of your foot. And so maybe Supta Padangusthasana is a bit more accessible than it would normally be after that work. Maybe not. Can you find the action of growing your leg longer? Even if it doesn't straighten, can you feel for making it longer? Your leg is an active participant, like trying to lengthen out. And then you can hold on to the big toe or have your strap, take the leg out to the right. And your left leg is still reaching forward. If it's on the wall, it's at a solid anchor. It's going to keep that left hip grounded for you. Right leg trying to grow longer to the right. Follow your next exhale to the bottom. Maybe a little bend in the right knee as you bring it up through center. And we'll take it off to the left. So if you have your left foot on a wall, you can just dial your toes parallel to the floor. Take the right arm up to the ceiling. And just like we did in our first seated twist, let your left leg be that extension of your left sit bone and really root it forward. And then from there, Start to peel your right ribs diagonal to the right. If you're finding that line again, we're just in a different orientation to the floor, and our legs are doing different things. So your right rib cage is going to peel away, diagonal from your left leg, and then your left rib cage, you can think about sliding out a bit towards your right foot. And we're breathing. If your right leg is extended, you can give a little bend in the knee. Bend your left knee as well. If it's there for you, maybe you can grab your left foot. Drawing that left heel towards your left sit bone and a little towards the floor. If you don't have that, you're just still in your twist. And then release the left foot if you have it, and we'll come back to constructive rest. Extend the right leg down your mat. Maybe anchor it to a wall if you have one handy. And we'll hug that left knee in. As your right leg reaches forward, sink the top of that right thigh bone towards the floor. Getting rid of some of that space right under the butt. And then reach up, half happy baby. Sending your breath where it's needed. So using your breath to direct the energy around inside your body, your prana, your life force. So extend that left leg up towards the ceiling. So as you imagine maybe moving your breath into the back of that left leg, we know our actual breath is not going in there because our lungs aren't there, right? But as you imagine moving the breath in there, actually just starting to move your energy, your prana, your life force, the you that's you down into your leg. You can occupy it in a different way. Left leg trying to get a little longer. Like, oh yeah, I'm part of this. And then you can take it off to the left. Right leg is still reaching forward, whether it's anchored onto a wall or it's just reaching forward in space. Can your right leg reach forward? Can you sink the top of that right thigh bone down? So that rather than just turning over towards your left leg, You're getting that opening through the inseam to the groin. It reaches up to the pelvic floor. Inhale to bring your leg back up through center, and we'll take it off to the right. Stand tall on that right leg. So you could imagine mountain pose from the crown of your head down through your right foot. And even if you have to bend that left knee, get the left foot to the floor. So then from there, either holding the foot or your strap, you're just going to start to lengthen to the right, any amount. Left arm's going to reach up. And then feel your right sit bone. Imagine that right root growing right down through the inseam of that right leg through the heel. We're going to peel the left ribs away from that. So that root gives you the stability to then open up a bit more. Gives you a little more freedom in the spine. And then you could release the reach of that left leg. You can just bend the knee. You can stay here in a twist. You can bend the right knee and reach down for the foot. So for me to get my foot, it actually has to come up into the air a little bit. And then for the stretch, you're going to bring the foot back down towards the floor, towards your sit bone. Maybe saying hello to some areas in that right hip that you haven't paid attention to in a while. And then release. And come back to constructive rest. I love a class where I never stand up. So we're having one of those this morning. Align your feet under your knees. Have a block or maybe two handy. And we're going to take the blocks and bring them right under the sacrum. So if you have the foam blocks that tend to be a little bit wobbly, if you stack them on the lowest height, that could be nice. But if you're working with a cork block, you can bring it to whatever height feels still tolerable for your hips. Feel the soles of the feet pressing down. And you're either going to hold the outside edges of your mat or interlace your hands in front of the block. And you're going to walk the shoulders one at a time underneath you. So you can kind of roll a little bit onto your left side and tuck that right shoulder underneath you. And then roll a little bit onto your right side and tuck the left shoulder underneath you. So your shoulders, the back of your head, your feet are all pressing down. You're going to get a nice lift up through the chest. So you know the back of your heart. We were there with the balls. So from there, and you start to lift up, send your sternum towards the ceiling, and maybe a little towards you, towards your face.
You could stay right here. You could bring the knees up over the hips. You can bring the feet up over the knees. There can be a bend in the knees if it's too much to have the legs straight, or you can work towards straightening the legs. Like you could plant your feet right up on the ceiling, and your hips will gently press down into the block as well to let your legs really reach up so you can soften a bit through the belly. Maybe roll your ankles here. You can bring the inseams of the legs together. Still get that lift through the chest. We're going to be here for about 10 more breaths. And then bend the knees, bring the feet back down. Maybe take a breath or two where you just extend the legs out. Feel into that back bend. And then we'll take the block out. Lower your spine one vertebra at a time. Bring the hips back down. And then lift the legs again. And we'll just shake it out. So shake the feet, shake the toes, shake the hands, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders. Find a little wiggle through your spine. Maybe move the head from side to side. And then take Shavasana. Corpse pose, test it out. If you need more support, can't relax into this, then set yourself up. Have a blanket under your head, under your neck, under your thighs. Now this could be a really easy place to just check out. How can you be in your body at rest? Let your attention drop down into your feet. Can you be in your toes? Balls of your feet, your arches. Can you be in the tops of your feet, your heels, your ankles? Can you be in your lower legs, infusing all those cells with your attention? Can you be in your knees, your thighs, your hips, your pelvis? Belly and low back.
rib cage, lungs, and heart. Chest, upper back, and shoulder blades. Arms, hands, fingers. Armpits, chest, throat. Neck, head. Whole body. Whole body. Relax and open your ears. And back to the space around you. Have the knees in, notice which nostril is more open and roll off to that side. It's up to a seat. And then from your seat, taking a moment, feel your legs, your belly and chest, your back, as best you can. Feeling your arms, your neck, your face, your head. Giving yourself a hug. Let yourself receive it. Then we'll close by chanting one Om. Om. Thank you so much.